Hamburg, Spring 2019. Sabine Hoffmann was 52 when her life took a turn she could never have imagined. Divorced for 3 years, she worked as an administrative manager at a logistics company in Hamburg. Her 2 children, now adults, had left the nest. Lucas was studying medicine in Berlin and Emma was working in Frankfurt. The large, empty house in the suburbs seemed to echo the loneliness that Sabine felt growing every day. "Mom, you need to get out more, meet new people," Emma always insisted during their weekend phone calls. "You can't just work and watch TV series." Following her daughter's advice, Sabine created a profile on an international dating platform one rainy April night. Why not, she thought as she chose her best photos from her last vacation in Bavaria. A blonde woman with light eyes, well-groomed for her age, financially stable and receiving a comfortable alimony from her ex-husband. Sabine had no idea that these characteristics would make her a perfect target. 3 days later, the message arrived. "Hello, beautiful German woman. Your smile lit up my day here in Tunisia." The profile showed a dark-skinned man, apparently 35 years old, with a broad smile and piercing eyes. Karim Ben Ali, that's how he introduced himself. A businessman in the handicrafts and export industry in Sousse, a Tunisian coastal city known for its beaches and historic Medina. The conversations began innocently. Karim showed genuine interest in Sabine's life, asking about her work, her children, her dreams. Unlike the German men she had dated after her divorce, always rushed, emotionally distant, Karim seemed to have endless time for her. Long messages arrived at any time of the day, always affectionate, always attentive. "You deserve to be treated like a queen," he wrote. "In Tunisia, we know how to value a real woman with life experience, not these girls who only think about parties." Sabine felt seen for the first time in years. The messages evolved into video calls. Karim showed her his shop, a small establishment filled with colorful ceramics, rugs, and traditional handicrafts. He briefly introduced his mother on a call, a veiled lady who waved and smiled at the camera. Everything seemed legitimate, real, promising. "You know, Sabine, since my wife died 5 years ago, I haven't been able to connect with anyone," Karim revealed one night, his voice choked with emotion. "You've brought light back into my life. Even though you're so far away, I feel like I've known you for years." The months passed at an astonishing speed. June arrived, and with it, the first suggestion. "Would you like to visit Tunisia? I can show you places that tourists never see. We can spend time together, really get to know each other." Sabine hesitated. She shared the idea with Emma over lunch in Frankfurt. "Mum, you barely know this man. Tunisia, alone. That's crazy," her daughter protested, her eyes wide with concern. But Karim was patient. "I understand your concerns, my love. Stay in a hotel. Come for just a week. No pressure, no commitment. I just want to see you in person. Look into your eyes, hold your hand." His words melted Sabine's resistance like the Mediterranean sun melts ice cream. In July, Sabine boarded a flight from Hamburg to Tunis. Karim was waiting for her at the airport with a huge bouquet of red roses and a smile that seemed even more charming in person. Their first embrace was warm and lingering. "You're even more beautiful than in the photos," he whispered in her ear, making her blush like a teenager. The first week was magical. Karim showed her the Medina of Sousse, the golden beaches, took her to traditional restaurants where she tried authentic couscous and tagine. He was attentive, gentlemanly, interested. Sabine felt reborn. The nightly video calls with Emma took on a defensive tone. "Everything is fine, dear. Karim is wonderful. You were wrong." On the penultimate day of the trip, during a candlelit dinner overlooking the Mediterranean, Karim held her hands on the table. "Sabine, I love you. I know it's fast, but at 45, I've learned to recognize something special when I find it. You are special. Come back to me. Marry me." Sabine's heart raced. Tears welled up. Karim, I need to think. It's all so intense. Of course, mein Schatz, he replied, using the German term of endearment he had learned. Think calmly, but know that I am here, waiting for you, ready to build a life together. Sabine returned to Hamburg a changed woman. The empty house now seemed even lonelier. The monotonous work more meaningless. Karim remained present, multiple messages daily, long phone calls. The pressure was subtle but constant. I miss you, my love. The house is empty without you. When are you coming back? It was in September that Sabine made her decision. She quit her job and put the house up for sale. Emma and Lucas were shocked. Mum, this is insane. You're throwing your life away for a man you met a few months ago, Lucas shouted during a heated argument. But Sabine was determined. You don't understand. After years of being alone, after a dead marriage, I finally found someone who truly loves me. I'm going to be happy, with or without your approval. In October 2019, Sabine Hoffman boarded a one-way flight to Tunis, 2 large suitcases containing her entire life, savings of $180,000 transferred to a joint account that Karim had arranged to facilitate, and a heart full of hope. Karim welcomed her with a party. He took her to what would be their home, a modest but tidy apartment in Sousse. We'll renovate it, make it your way, he promised. In the early days, everything seemed like a dream come true. Daily outings, romantic dinners, plans for the future. But in the second week, small changes began. Karim started going out more, coming home late. Business, my love. I need to work for our future. Access to the joint account, Sabine discovered, was blocked. A temporary technical problem, Karim assured her. He suggested calling Emma and Lucas later. Let's enjoy our time together now, okay? Sabine began to feel a growing unease. Something was wrong, but she couldn't identify what it was. Karim was still affectionate, but there was a subtle change in his behavior. An almost imperceptible control was beginning to take hold. What Sabine didn't know was that her real ordeal was just beginning, and that the man she had abandoned everything for was not at all what he seemed to be. The first real sign that something was terribly wrong came one November morning. Sabine woke up alone in the apartment. Karim had left early, as he had been doing for the past few weeks. She tried to access their joint bank account through the mobile app. Access denied. Contact your branch. Sabine's heart raced. She immediately called Karim. The number you have dialed is disconnected or out of service. She tried again. And again. Nothing. 3 hours later, Karim showed up, his face set in an expression Sabine had never seen before. We need to talk, he said coldly, without his usual affectionate words. Karim, the account, I can't access it. What's going on? He sat down on the sofa and lit a cigarette, another new habit Sabine had noticed. I've had some business problems. I needed to use the money to cover urgent debts. It's temporary. What do you mean use the money? It's 180,000 euros, my entire life's savings. You can't just... I can't? Karim interrupted her, his voice taking on an aggressive tone. We're married, aren't we? What's yours is mine. That's how it works. Sabine felt the ground disappear beneath her feet. Married? Karim, we only had a symbolic ceremony with your friends. We don't have any official papers yet. His laughter was cruel, humorless. Ah, my dear Sabine, so naive. That symbolic ceremony is legal here in Tunisia. You signed documents in Arabic, remember? Congratulations, you are officially my wife, and here wives obey. Sabine's blood ran cold. She had indeed signed papers during the ceremony, Karim translating quickly, her trusting blindly. You tricked me. Tricked you? Karim stood up, approaching her intimidatingly. I gave you attention, affection, made you feel special. And you brought your German money, your German naivety, thinking you could buy a young, handsome husband. Who tricked whom, Sabine? Tears began to roll down her face. I loved you. I trusted you. Love? He laughed again. You loved the idea of not being alone. And me? I need this money. I have plans. My real family needs it. You were just convenient. Sabine ran to the bedroom, locked herself in, and picked up her cell phone with trembling hands. She called Emma. Daughter, you were right. I made a terrible mistake. The call dropped. She tried again. Nothing. She checked the signal. It was blocked. She ran to the apartment door, locked from the outside. Panic took hold of her. Karim, open this door, she shouted, pounding on the wood. You leave when I allow you to. His voice came from the other side, calm, controlled. And when you leave, you will behave. Understand? You are my wife now. You will learn to obey, or things will become very difficult for you. For the next 3 days, Sabine was practically a prisoner. Karim controlled when she could leave the room, what she could eat, when she could use the bathroom. The apartment that had seemed so welcoming had become a prison. On the 4th day, Karim arrived with an older woman. This is Fatima. She will teach you how a Tunisian wife should behave. You will listen to her. You will follow the rules. Fatima, with a hard stare and a stern expression, began a list of demands. Traditional clothing, covering herself completely when going out, not talking to men, not using a cell phone without permission, cooking, cleaning, serving. No, Sabine said, her voice trembling but firm. I won't do that. I am a German citizen. I have rights. The slap came quickly, Karim's hand hitting her face hard. Sabine fell, the taste of blood in her mouth. Here you have no rights. Here you are my property, and property does not argue. That night, curled up in the corner of the room, Sabine understood the magnitude of her mistake. She had fallen into a carefully planned trap. The romantic, attentive, passionate man never existed. It was just a mask, and now she saw the monster behind it. But Sabine Hoffman was not weak. 52 years of life had taught her how to survive, and if she had to feign submission to find a way out, that was exactly what she would do. In the days that followed, she changed her strategy. She stopped resisting openly. She cooked when asked. She cleaned. She wore the clothes Fatima had brought her. She kept her eyes down. And she watched. Every detail, every movement Karim made, every visitor to the apartment. She discovered that Karim was not a businessman. He was part of an organized network that targeted vulnerable European women. She overheard conversations in Arabic that he thought she didn't understand, thanks to the lessons she had secretly started online weeks earlier. That German girl was easy, he laughed on the phone. I've already transferred 120,000 to the main account. I'll withdraw the other 60,000 little by little. In 2 months, I'll get rid of her and move on to the next one. Sabine also discovered where Karim kept the documents, including her passport, which he had confiscated. More importantly, she discovered that there were other victims. Photos on his cell phone of different European women, standardized romantic messages sent to multiple women simultaneously. She wasn't the first. And if she didn't do something, she wouldn't be the last. That's when Sabine started planning her escape, her revenge, and the destruction of the man who had stolen not only her money, but her dignity, her confidence, her hope. What Karim didn't know was that the mature and naive German woman he had chosen as his victim had an inner strength forged by years of life, work, and overcoming adversity. And she was about to show him what she was capable of. The opportunity arose unexpectedly. Karim needed to travel to Tunis for 3 days. Important business, he said with a cynical smile. Fatima would be responsible for watching over Sabine during his absence. No phone, no internet, no going out alone, Karim instructed before leaving, pointing his finger at Sabine's face. Fatima has my orders. If you disobey, the consequences will be severe when I return. Sabine kept her head down, the submissive posture she had perfected over the past few weeks. Yes, Karim, I'll behave. What he didn't know was that during those weeks of apparent obedience, Sabine had cultivated something unexpected, an ally, Fatima herself. It all started when Sabine noticed marks on the older woman's arm, bruises she tried to hide under long sleeves. In a moment alone, Sabine ventured, "Does he hit you too?" Fatima looked at her with surprise, then with deep sadness. "My son," she whispered in broken French, a language they both shared minimally. "He wasn't always like this. The money changed him. Now, I'm afraid of him." It was a moment of shared humanity. Two women trapped by violent men, separated by culture and language, but united by suffering. Sabine realized that Fatima was not a willing accomplice. She was another victim. "Help me get out of here," Sabine begged in that initial conversation. "And I'll help you get out too. I have contacts in Germany. We can report him. Stop this." Fatima hesitated, fear visible in her eyes. "He'll kill us if he finds out." "Then we can't let him know," Sabine replied with determination. Now, with Karim in Tunis, it was time to act. On the first day of his absence, Fatima arrived at the apartment as usual, but she was carrying something hidden in her bag, an old cell phone. 2 hours, she said, handing the device to Sabine. "Then I need to take it back." With trembling hands, Sabine called Emma. Her daughter answered on the second ring, her voice desperate. "Mom! Oh my God, Mom! We've been trying to reach you for weeks. The police—" "Emma, listen carefully," Sabine interrupted, her voice low but firm. "I don't have much time. I'm in Sousse, Tunisia. I need you to write down an address." She gave her the information she had memorized from Karim's letters. "Contact the German embassy in Tunis. Tell them I'm a victim of marriage fraud and false imprisonment. I need official help." "Mom, we already did that. The embassy tried to locate you, but couldn't because you're registered as married to a Tunisian national. The laws here are complicated." Sabine's heart sank. "Then I need to get out on my own. Emma, I need you to transfer 2,000 euros to a specific account." She gave her the details of an account that Fatima had arranged, belonging to a distant cousin, untraceable to her. "And I need you to arrange a flight from Tunis to Hamburg in 3 days. I'll be there." How, Mom? How are you going to get out of there?" "Leave it to me. Just do what I asked. And Emma, I love you. Tell Lucas too. If anything goes wrong—" "Nothing will go wrong," Emma interrupted, her voice breaking. "You're coming home, Mom. We're bringing you back." Sabine hung up, cleared her call history and returned the phone to Fatima. "Thank you. You saved my life." Fatima nodded, her eyes brimming with tears. "My son, he was a good boy. I failed him. I won't fail you." Over the next 48 hours, Sabine and Fatima executed the plan meticulously. Fatima confirmed to Karim via text message that everything was under control, that Sabine was behaving herself. Meanwhile, they prepared for the escape. Fatima got a full burqa. The veil that covered Sabine entirely would be the perfect camouflage. She also got a temporary ID from an acquaintance, documents that would allow Sabine to pass as an ordinary Tunisian if she wasn't inspected closely. "Early tomorrow, 5 a.m., Fatima instructed. "My nephew, he's a taxi driver. He doesn't like Karim. He'll help. He'll take you to Tunis, straight to the German embassy. You'll be safe there until your flight." "What about you?" Sabine asked. "Come with me. You're not safe here either." Fatima shook her head sadly. "My life is here. My other children, grandchildren, I can't abandon them. But you can be free. And when you report Karim, maybe justice will come for him." On that last night in the prison apartment, Sabine hardly slept. She went over the plan in her head 1,000 times. The slightest mistake could cost her everything, her freedom, perhaps her life. At 4:45 a.m., she put on the burqa. She felt suffocated by the fabric, but it was necessary. Fatima arrived punctually at 5 a.m., accompanied by a young man with a serious look on his face. "This is Hassan, my nephew. Trust him," Fatima said. Hassan just nodded and picked up the small bag Sabine had prepared. Inside, only the essential documents she had managed to rescue and some basic clothes. Everything else, money, life, dreams, had been stolen by Karim. The descent down the stairs was silent. Every creak of the wood seemed like a cry of alarm. Sabine held her breath, waiting for a neighbor to appear, for an alarm to sound. Nothing. Only the silence of the early morning in Sousse. In the taxi, while the city was still asleep, Sabine allowed herself to cry for the first time in weeks. Not out of despair, out of relief. Every kilometer that took her further away from Sousse was a kilometer closer to freedom. Hassan drove fast but carefully. "Aunt Fatima told me everything," he said in French. "Karim, he is a disgrace to our family. What he does is not Islam. It is not honor. It is a crime." 3 hours later, the taxi stopped in front of the German embassy in Tunis. The sun was beginning to rise, painting the sky orange. Sabine got out of the car, removed her burqa, and felt the cool air on her face for the first time in weeks. "Thank you," she said to Hassan, who just waved and drove away quickly. Sabine turned toward the embassy gate. The German flag fluttered in the wind. German territory on Tunisian soil, safety, home. She took her first step toward freedom, but she knew the battle was far from over. Karim would discover her escape in a matter of hours, and men like him did not let their victims get away easily. The war was just beginning. The German consular officer, Herr Stefan Baumgartner, looked at Sabine with a mixture of professionalism and genuine compassion. "Frau Hoffmann, you are safe now, but I must be honest about the legal situation." Sabine sat in a room at the embassy, wrapped in a blanket, a cup of hot coffee in her trembling hands. It had only been 2 hours since her arrival, but it felt like an eternity. "The marriage you signed is legally recognized in Tunisia," Herr Baumgartner explained, leafing through documents. "And the money transferred to the joint account. Technically, as his wife under local law, he had legal access to the funds." "But it was fraud," Sabine protested, her voice breaking. "He deliberately deceived me. He translated the documents falsely, manipulated me." "I know, and I believe you completely," the consul replied empathetically. "The problem is proving it legally here. Tunisia has its own laws on marriage, and cases like yours, unfortunately, are more common than we would like." "So he'll go unpunished? He'll continue doing this to other women?" Herr Baumgartner leaned forward. "Not necessarily. We have 2 approaches, one legal, the other practical. Legally, we can file a formal complaint of fraud and abuse. It will be long and complicated, but it may eventually result in an investigation. Practically, we need to get you out of the country as soon as possible." "My flight is tomorrow night," Sabine informed him. "Great. You will stay here at the embassy until then. Do not leave for any reason. When Karim finds out you've escaped, and he will, he'll try to stop you from leaving the country. As your legal husband, he can file a travel restriction." Sabine's blood ran cold. "He can stop me from returning to Germany. He can try. That's why we need to act quickly. I'm already coordinating with immigration authorities. Your case is classified as a consular emergency." At that very moment, 140 kilometers away in Sousse, Karim Ben Ali opened the door to the apartment. "Sabine, Mom?" Silence. The apartment was empty. He called Fatima. The woman answered with a trembling voice. She ran away, early yesterday morning." "I'm sorry, son. I tried to stop her, but you let her run away," Karim shouted, kicking a chair violently. "You useless cow! Do you know how much money I hadn't transferred yet? Do you know how much trouble this is going to cause me?" He hung up and immediately made another call. "Rashid, it's Karim. I have a problem. The German woman ran away. I need to find her before she leaves the country." Rashid, Karim's contact in the local police, replied with concern. "Karim, if she's arrived at the German embassy, there's nothing I can do. It's foreign territory." "But you can block her from leaving the country, can't you? I'm her legal husband. She can't travel without my permission." "I can try, but you know that cases like this are complicated. If the Germans put pressure on—" "Try," Karim ordered, "and find out which flight she's on. I need to know when and where she's going to try to leave." Karim wasn't just worried about the remaining money. Sabine knew details about his operation, the names, the methods, other victims. If she told the German authorities, if they investigated thoroughly, his entire network could collapse. She wasn't just a fugitive victim, she was a threat. Meanwhile, at the embassy, Sabine was giving her detailed statement to Herr Baumgartner and a German police investigator who had joined via video conference. "Frau Hoffmann, can you give us the names of other possible victims?" the investigator asked. Sabine showed photos she had managed to secretly take from Karim's cell phone. "I saw messages to at least 5 different women. German, Austrian, French, all over 45, all recently divorced or widowed." The investigator took notes quickly. "This is evidence of a systematic operation. I'll forward it to Interpol. But Frau Hoffmann, you need to understand, even with this information, the process will be long." "I just want to go home," Sabine whispered, exhausted. "And I want other women to not have to go through what I went through." The next few hours were agonizing. Emma called every hour to check on her mother. Lucas, who had flown from Berlin to Hamburg, promised to be at the airport when she arrived. In the afternoon, Mr. Baumgartner brought worrying news. "Karim has filed a travel restriction. He claimed marital dispute, risk of kidnapping of family assets, whatever that means." "He's trying to keep me here," Sabine exclaimed, panicking. "We're working on it. Our ambassador is putting pressure on the Tunisian Ministry of the Interior. Your case has been given top priority." Sabine barely slept that night in a small but safe room inside the embassy. Every noise made her jump, fearing that Karim would somehow manage to reach her. The next morning, the day of her flight, more news. "We did it," Herr Baumgartner announced with a smile. "The restriction has been lifted. Diplomatic pressure worked, but we need to take you to the airport with an escort." At 3 p.m., an official embassy car with diplomatic plates transported Sabine to Tunis-Carthage International Airport. 2 security guards accompanied her, alert to any threat. At check-in, Sabine's heart nearly stopped. There, across the lobby, was Karim. He saw her at the same moment. Their eyes met, his filled with rage, hers with defiance. He started walking toward her. Sabine froze. The security guards immediately positioned themselves in front of her. "Sabine!" Karim shouted, his voice echoing through the airport. "You can't do this. I'm your husband. You belong to me." "Sir, step back," one of the security guards ordered in Arabic. Karim continued advancing, now running. Other airport security guards intervened, holding him back. He struggled, shouted, cursed in Arabic and German. "I will find you. In Germany, wherever you go, you owe me. My money, my wife." Sabine was quickly escorted through security. Her legs were shaking, but she kept walking. She didn't look back. She couldn't. At the boarding gate, she finally allowed herself to cry. Tears of terror, relief, anger, shame, all mixed together. As the plane took off, flying north over the Mediterranean, Sabine looked out the window. Below, Tunisia was getting smaller and smaller. Her 3-month nightmare was finally over, or at least that's what she wanted to believe, because Karim Ben Ali was not a man to accept defeat. And his threats at the airport were not empty. He had contacts, resources, and a rage that knew no bounds. Sabine's battle for freedom was not over yet. Hamburg airport had never looked so beautiful. Sabine stepped off the plane with wobbly legs, but when she saw Emma and Lucas waiting in the arrivals area, her eyes filled with tears. They were the first genuine hugs she had received in months. "Mom!" Emma cried copiously, holding Sabine's face in her hands. "Look what he did to you. You're so thin, so—" "I'm alive," Sabine interrupted, her voice steady despite the tears. "I'm home, and now we're going to make him pay." Lucas, always the most practical, had everything organized. "I spoke to a lawyer who specializes in international fraud. We have a meeting tomorrow, and the Hamburg police want your formal statement." In the days that followed, Sabine discovered the extent of the damage. Of the 180,000 euros, only 23,000 remained in the account. Karim had transferred the rest to multiple accounts in different countries. The apartment she had sold, the money was also gone. Transfer fees and Tunisian taxes, Karim had claimed at the time. "Frau Hoffmann, your case is not an isolated one," explained Detective Martens of the Hamburg police, a middle-aged woman with an experienced look. "We have seen a 300% increase in these scams over the last 3 years. North African men specifically targeting mature, financially stable German women. But can you arrest him? Get my money back?" Sabine asked anxiously. "It's complicated. He's in Tunisia. We don't have a strong extradition agreement. And technically, being a legal husband under their laws, the most we can do is issue an Interpol alert and block his entry into the Schengen area. That's all. After everything he's done." The detective sighed sympathetically. "International law has its limitations, but there is something you can do that is just as powerful. Tell your story publicly." That's how the idea was born. Emma, who worked in digital marketing, suggested, "Mum, you need to expose this man. Social media, the press, everything. How many other women is he deceiving right now? How many could be saved if they knew the truth?" Sabine hesitated at first. The shame was still too great. To admit publicly that she had been deceived, that she had lost everything because of her naivety. But then she thought of Fatima, of Hassan, of the photos of other victims she had seen on Karim's cell phone. It wasn't just about her. In February 2020, Sabine created a blog, "My Tunisian Prince, the Truth Behind the Romance." She told her whole story, sparing no details. She included methods Karim had used, red flags she had ignored, evidence she had managed to gather. The response was immediate and overwhelming. In 1 week, she had 50,000 views. In 2, she was being invited to appear on German TV shows. But most importantly, other victims began to come forward. "Sabine, you saved my life," wrote a 58-year-old Austrian woman. "I was planning to travel to Tunisia to meet a man. I saw your blog, compared the messages. They are identical. It was the same scam." "I was also a victim," wrote a French woman. "I lost 90,000 euros to a Tunisian man in 2018. I thought it was just me. Now I know it's systematic." The stories multiplied. Karim wasn't just a con artist. He was part of an international network. And Sabine, without realizing it, had become the face of a campaign against these scams. That's when the threats began. Messages on her social media, anonymous emails, unknown numbers calling in the middle of the night. "You'll pay for exposing me, German bitch. I know where your children live. Lucas in Berlin, Emma in Frankfurt. It would be a shame if something happened. You owe me. I'll find you and collect every penny." Sabine reported everything to the police. Lucas installed advanced security systems in her home. Emma temporarily changed her address. Everyone lived in constant fear. In March, the situation escalated. Sabine was leaving a supermarket in Hamburg when a man approached her. Dark-skinned, North African accent, menacing look. "Message from Karim," he said in broken German. "Stop talking, delete blog, or consequences." Sabine, terrified, ran back into the supermarket, screaming for help. The man disappeared before security guards could reach him. Security cameras captured only blurry images. "He sent someone here," Sabine cried in her police statement. "He can reach me in Germany." Detective Martins was visibly concerned. "I'll request temporary police protection, and Frau Hoffmann, perhaps it's time to consider slowing down your public exposure." But something changed in Sabine at that moment. It was no longer fear. It was anger. Pure, justified, focused anger. "No," she declared, her voice firm. "I'm not going to hide. I'm not going to let him win again. If he wants to silence me, I'll scream even louder." And that's exactly what she did. Sabine accepted an interview on German primetime television on the program Aktenzeichen XXL, Ungelöst, Unsolved Case XY, equivalent to Crime Watch. She told everything, showed photos of Karim, exposed his methods. The repercussions were national. Politicians began to discuss stronger legislation against international marriage fraud. Interpol intensified its investigation into Karim's network. Tunisian authorities, under international pressure, opened a formal investigation. But the most devastating blow to Karim came from where he least expected it, his own victims. Inspired by Sabine, 6 other European women came forward and filed a class action lawsuit. Together, they gathered enough evidence to prove organized criminal activity. In April, Sabine received a call that would change everything. It was from Detective Martins. "Frau Hoffmann, I have news. The Tunisian police arrested Karim Ben Ali this morning. Under international pressure, and with the evidence you and other victims provided, they finally took action." Sabine sat down, her legs weak. "Arrested, really?" "Really. He is charged with systematic fraud, document forgery, and transnational threats. What's more, we recovered about 85,000 euros from accounts he held. It's not everything, but it's significant." The tears came, this time from relief. It wasn't a complete victory. The money recovered did not erase the trauma, but it was justice. It was recognition. It was proof that she hadn't fought in vain. That night, Sabine posted on her blog, "Today, my nightmare has officially ended. Karim Ben Ali is in jail. But more importantly, 47 women have contacted me saying that my story saved them from similar scams. That's worth more than any amount of money." The comments exploded. Hundreds of messages of support, gratitude, solidarity. Sabine had transformed from a shameful victim into an inspiring activist. Emma hugged her mother, both of them crying. "You did it, Mom. You defeated him." "No," Sabine corrected, looking out the window at the lights of Hamburg. "We did it, all of us together. Every woman who had the courage to speak out, to report, to refuse to be silenced. But even with Karim in prison, Sabine knew that the bigger battle continued. He was just one. There were hundreds, perhaps thousands of men like him, operating with impunity. And there were still thousands of vulnerable, lonely women seeking love and finding predators. Her work was just beginning, and she was ready to continue it. Because Sabine Hoffmann was no longer the naive woman who boarded a flight to Tunisia in search of romance. She was a survivor, a fighter, and a voice for those who had not yet found the courage to speak out. 10 months after her return from Tunisia, Sabine Hoffmann was sitting in a podcast studio, headphones adjusted, microphone in front of her. Across the table, host Julia Schneider smiled encouragingly. "Sabine, your case has inspired real legislative change in Germany. How do you feel about being the catalyst for this transformation?" Sabine took a deep breath. Even after dozens of interviews, talking about her experience still brought a tightness to her chest. But now, along with the pain, came something new. Purpose. "I feel that my suffering has gained meaning," she replied, her voice steady. "Every euro I lost, every tear I shed, every night of terror I experienced, it all turned into protection for other women. It doesn't erase what I went through, but it gives meaning to it all." The podcast Survivor Voices was just one of the many platforms where Sabine now shared her story. In recent months, she had become a national reference on international marriage fraud. The German Ministry of Justice consulted her regularly. Her foundation, Love Without Borders, Protection Without Limits, had already helped 127 women identify scams before they lost their savings. Most importantly, Karim Ben Ali was awaiting trial in Tunisia, with possible extradition to Germany, but it wasn't all victories. Of the original $180,000, Sabine had recovered only $92,000. The rest had disappeared into untraceable offshore accounts. Her house, sold hastily, had been bought by another owner, and there was no way to get it back at the original price. And the emotional scars, those took time to heal. "I still have nightmares," Sabine admitted in a therapy session with Dr. Elena Fischer. "I dream that I'm trapped in that apartment, that Karim is chasing me, that I never managed to escape." "That's absolutely normal," the therapist replied compassionately. "PTSD takes time to process. But look how far you've come, Sabine. You didn't just survive, you're thriving, helping others." And it was true. Sabine had found a new job as a consultant for an online identity verification company. Her experience had made her an expert at identifying fake profiles and manipulation tactics. Ironically, the man who had tried to destroy her had unwittingly given her a new career. In November, the news everyone had been waiting for arrived. Detective Martens called her personally. "Frau Hoffmann, Karim Ben Ali has been convicted. 8 years in prison in Tunisia, plus an extradition order approved for Germany, where he will face additional charges. He will never again be a threat to you or any other woman." Sabine closed her eyes, letting the information sink in. 8 years. It wasn't life imprisonment, but it was justice. It was official recognition that what he had done was a crime, that she was a legitimate victim, not a naive accomplice. "What about Fatima?" Sabine asked, remembering the woman who had risked everything to help her. "She's safe. With Karim in prison, she and her family are starting over. She asked me to tell you, thank you for giving me a voice, too." That Christmas, for the first time in 2 years, Sabine felt true peace. Reunited with Emma, Lucas, and even her ex-husband Thomas, who ironically had become one of her biggest supporters, she toasted not to what she had lost, but to what she had gained. "To a new beginning," Emma raised her glass. "To courage," Lucas added. "To survival," Sabine completed, her eyes shining. In January 2021, Sabine did something she never imagined she would do. She started dating again. Not on international apps, not looking for romance in faraway places. She met Matthias Engel, a 54-year-old history teacher, at a local walking group. He was divorced, with grown children, and it took him 3 months just to ask her out for coffee. "I'm in no hurry," he said on their first date, smiling gently. "I've run too much in my life. Now I prefer to walk slowly, alongside the right person." Sabine appreciated Matthias's honesty, patience, and local, verifiable presence. No grand promises, no declarations of eternal love in the second week. Just genuine companionship, built brick by brick. "He's normal," Sabine laughed to Emma on the phone. "And after all, normal is exactly what I need." Karim's final trial in Germany took place in March. Sabine chose not to attend in person. She didn't want to see him again, but she sent an impact statement that was read in court. "Karim Ben Ali didn't just steal my money. He stole my trust, my ability to believe in love, my peace. But what he couldn't steal was my strength. I survived. And by surviving, I became a voice for those who still suffer in silence. My victory is not his imprisonment. It is my regained freedom." The judge sentenced Karim to 6 more years in a German prison, consecutive to the 8 Tunisian years. 14 years in total. He would be 59 when he got out, if he got out. "Justice has been done," Sabine whispered upon receiving the news, but without the vengeful satisfaction she had imagined she would feel. Just a quiet closure. Her blog, which had started as a desperate outburst, was now an educational resource used by police in 5 countries. Her foundation had expanded to Austria and Switzerland, and the documentary about her case, Love or Trap: The Story of Sabine, was being finalized for release on streaming networks. In May, on the 1-year anniversary of her escape from Tunisia, Sabine did something symbolic. She donated the €92,000 she had recovered to create scholarships for women who were victims of domestic violence and fraud, allowing them to start over professionally. "This money was born out of my pain," she explained to the press. "May it be reborn as hope for others." Emma cried when she saw the news. "Mom, are you sure? That money was yours? You could—" "Could what?" Sabine interrupted gently. "Buy back lost time? Erase memories?" "No, dear, money is just money. But what it can do for other women, that is immeasurable." On a sunny June afternoon, Sabine was in the garden of her new home, smaller than the previous one, but cozy and truly hers, when she received a letter. It was from a 28-year-old woman from Stuttgart. "Dear Sabine, we've never met, but you saved my life. I was being manipulated by a man from Morocco, about to transfer my savings of €40,000. I saw your documentary. I recognized all the tactics. I blocked him immediately. Today, I'm using that money to start my own business. You turned your tragedy into protection for me. I will be eternally grateful." Tears rolled down Sabine's face, but they were tears of fulfillment. Every scar had been worth it. Every moment of terror had turned into a moment of salvation for someone else. Matthias, who was planting tomatoes beside her, gently touched her shoulder. "Good news." "The best." Sabine smiled, holding the letter to her chest. "I just saved another one." And there, in that sunny garden in Hamburg, Sabine Hoffmann understood completely. She was no longer the woman who followed her Tunisian prince to Sousse. She was someone infinitely stronger, wiser, more complete. She was a survivor, an activist, a light in the darkness for women who were still searching for their way home. And as much as Karim Ben Ali had tried to destroy her, what he had really done was forge her into something indestructible. Hope turned into action.